Hello and welcome back to the Indigo mini album tutorial series for ScrapNCreate. Today I am going to be showing you how to make the final full-size page. This will be page number 6. So if you are just tuning in, there are tutorials for all of the other pages in the album. And if you are going to follow along, don't forget to go to ScrapNCreate.com to pick up all of the indigo papers that you will need to decorate the album. They'll all be linked in the description box below. So to get started, the same as we normally would, we are going to start with a piece of paper that measures 5 inches by 2 1/4 inch. Then we're going to score this at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Then we're going to come to 1 5/8 of an inch. We are not going to score this, but we're just going to make a very light mark as a guideline to help us to know where to place our piece. Then we're going to fold on the 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch score lines. And then we're going to fold so we have our small little gusset. Next, we're going to cut our 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 flap for the front of the page. Then we're going to bring the base page in, make sure that your pockets are on the sides. And we're going to mark this one now at the bottom. So we've done all the other ones, the side, the top, the side, and now this one is going to go down here. So I'm going to mark this so I know where the center is, and then I'm going to place adhesive on my 1/2 inch tab section, but not in that 5/8 inch extra section there. So just on the 1/2 inch tab. Then I am going to be placing this so that that 1/2 inch score line is sitting on the edge of the paper. And then I'm going to burnish that down. Now, once it's on the page, I can go ahead and refold that 1/8 inch fold. Next, I'm going to bring in my 6 1/4 inch front panel, and I am going to mark here where the halfway point is going to be. I'm going to add my adhesive just below that little line that we used as a guide, not a score line, but as a guideline. I'm going to place my adhesive from the edge to that line. And then I'm going to place this piece and I did not mark mine correctly. Okay. So I'm going to erase my marks that were incorrect. When you do this, make sure yours are correct. It makes it lining up much easier so that it is in the center. And now we have our flap that folds down. Next, I'm going to start with a full sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. I'm going to cut a piece to 4 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut this to 8 5/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch and 4 5/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to fold in on the score line. And then I'm going to fold in on the tab. So I'll have a piece that looks like this. taking the piece that was left over, I'm going to cut one more piece to 4 1/8. Then I'm going to trim this down to 8 5/8. Score at 1/2 and 4 5/8. Again, I'm going to fold inward on the flap, and I'm going to fold in on the tab. I'm going to take another piece of my cardstock and I'm going to cut this to 6 1/2. Then I'm going to cut to 4 1/8, and I'm going to cut a second piece to 4 1/8. Now I'm going to turn these back to the 6 1/2 inch side, and I am going to score this at 1/2 inch and then at 4 5/8. Again, a 1/2 inch and 4 5/8. Then I'm going to fold up and I'm going to fold in. So now I have two pieces like this and two pieces like this. Bring the base of the page back in, flip this down. We're going to take one of these pieces that has the long panel on it, and we're going to turn it over in this direction. But I'm actually just going to open it up for now so that when I apply this, it's going to be here. I'm going to take the second one of those and open it up, and when I apply this one, it's going to be here on this edge. So one of them is going to be on the left edge at the top, one of them is going to be on the bottom edge at the right. So when you have these on your page, they should meet in the middle and they should not overlap. If they do overlap at all, you'll need to trim them down. So I'm going to adhere my adhesive to the 1/2 inch tab. And then I'm going to place this one on the right-hand side, making sure that it is straight lined up across the bottom and with the edge of the paper. Then I'm going to apply the adhesive to the back of this 1/2 inch tab. And I'm going to do the same thing here, making sure everything's lined up, but then I'm also going to close this flap to make sure that they both fit on the page. Now I can go ahead and fold these in and fold that closed. I'm going to fold this in and fold that closed. Then I'm going to take one of my other flaps. I'm going to place one of them here, and I'm going to take the other one and place the other one here so that they basically form a square in the middle. So again, applying my adhesive on the 1/2 inch tab. Placing this one down, making sure everything lines up straight. There is a slight gap between these, and that's okay because I don't want there to be an overlap, and that will help my papers to sit correctly. Same thing with this one. I'm going to take my 1/2" tab and place my adhesive on it. And then I'm going to place this one in the top right-hand corner. And now I have all of my flaps on my page. This is how we're going to keep the front of the last page. We're going to take one piece of cardstock and cut this to 4 1/4 inches. And then we're going to cut this to 8 3/4 inches. And then we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Fold on that score line. Bringing in our page, we're going to place this flap here. And I'm going to mark this 1/2 inch from the top and bottom edge, and that's where I'm going to place my flap. So I'll add my adhesive to this 1/2 inch tab. And then line up the score line with the top of the page. And burnish this down. Next, I'm going to take a piece and cut it to 6 1/4. And then I'm going to cut this to 7 3/4. And on this side, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Fold on that score line. Open this top flap, and we are going to adhere this piece right into the center on the right-hand side of the page. So I'm going to add my adhesive to this 1/2 inch tab. And line up that score line with the edge of the page. Next, we're going to take that 5 inch piece that's left over from our last cut, and we're going to cut this down to 7 3/4 inch. Score this at 1/2 inch. And then fold on that score line. Now I'm going to flip my flap up. I'm going to leave my flap here, and I'm going to adhere this one right into the center, but on the left-hand side. So add your adhesive to that 1/2 inch tab. and adhere this flap onto the edge. So the score line is lined up with the edge of the larger flap behind it. So now we have this flap flips open, there's this flap, and then this flap will flip open. And then we have this flap on top. So this is the end of the build for the back side of our final page. In the next video, we will begin decorating this final page with the Indigo papers. And if you haven't purchased the Indigo papers yet and you want to follow along with the tutorial, head over to ScrapNCreate.com and pick up the papers today. You can find links in the description box below for all of the Indigo collection that is being used in this tutorial.